here for TikTok. And there we go. Should be good to go. So this morning, as you can probably see, I don't know if you're going to be able to see that. Yeah, you should be able to. Up 370 right now in sim. I didn't take that in the prop account. I just took it in sim. And part of that is the fact of what I'm struggling with, this morning personally in my trading and what it is that I am doing. And that struggle is in the context of really showing up on the court in a very impactful way. And I don't feel like I am, excuse me, doing a great job of that this morning. Because I am, I don't know, I'm pretty nervous this morning in terms of trading. I did a lot of back work last night and over the weekend, just replaying data and stuff and doing phenomenal, absolutely phenomenal. But there is a chink in my armor that I noticed trading before trading live in a trending market. And what happens in these market conditions, right? These market conditions shift. And when a market condition shifts, what we do is we try to trade in the same way, or we try to anticipate what the shift is going to be. When we're shifting in market conditions, what happens is we could be ranged, we could be trending, right? These are all areas. And so when you go to the last trending day we really had, we're looking at the 9th of June. Price action came up into the unfair highs, dropped below those areas and started trading down. In this area in here, I actually took a long as it was coming in here on the replay. I didn't take that long when I was trading this live that day. I took it in the replay. And taking that long in the replay, I ended up taking a $8,000 expense trade. Now, mind you, on this day, I was up a little bit over $16,000 between 9:30 and 10:30, just scalping. And so taking the hit that I did was just basically taking away profits. But that's the whole point. I only ended up the day like $7,000 or $8,000 in revenue when it should have been $15,000, $16,000. So I replayed it again without taking that long, and sure enough, I was up to 16,000. But what it shows, though, is in my ability to analyze the markets real time. Sometimes I stay in rotational markets and trading balance and not recognizing the trend. And when I do that, trading in a prop account, I can take a catastrophic loss. Not just me taking a catastrophic loss, but let's say there's individuals following or something else. When you're live, you have a level of responsibility, right? Because you don't know what other people are doing. Granted, that's their responsibility of what they're going to do with their trades. But if I'm here live in front of people, I still have that level of responsibility. And I don't take that responsibility lightly. And so I need to get better at being able to understand market shifts, when they're occurring, how they're occurring, and trade them accordingly at the live edge. Because I don't want myself to experience that type of an expense again. Because what I did was, it was in that area, I added into the position. I scaled myself into the position. I was in like 4 contracts. It's pretty much the max. Because what I'll do is, if the market is, I'm anticipating the market to be rotational, I'm in an area of rotation, I'll scale into that position in case if it just goes, and if it comes against me, I'll scale back in. People say, well, don't add to positions as they're going against you. But what you're doing, though, is you're dropping your entry price. And you're getting a better price by getting in there. And now the market doesn't have to go as far to get there. So it's just a matter of being able to recognize those conditions, because if you're trying to scale into a position and you have a level of support, the market turns around and comes up, or goes back down through that support, that's where you can take your larger losses and your larger hits. And I just missed that last night in one of my replays. And of course, now it's affecting me today, and a little bit of nervousness on what happens if that same market condition happens again. So that's where I'm at this morning in my trading. That's why I went sim instead of trading live at about 7 o'clock this morning. In the sim account, I am up $370. I've had 3 trades. None of them have really gone too far, but we shouldn't expect them to, because really in reality, for those of you on TikTok, I'll show you this other chart that I have up. We're in a very tight range this morning, trading in, the range of the previous day as well. We're right down here in unfair lows. Blow this up a little bit for everybody to see. We're right down here in unfair lows in the current profile. Oh, goodness. Trying to get this for everybody to see is not easy to do. So we're here in this profile. Inside bar comes down. We're in unfair lows. We're anticipating to cycle back to unfair highs, but we're talking about a range right now of 69 down to 47. Scalpable, absolutely, depending on what you're looking for your targets, but not something you necessarily want to try to go in and day trade with. And so right now, I'm going to be waiting for the US Open. I'm going to continue to take some trades in the sim to begin with. And then I'm going to go over to the prop live account and start trading from there after the US session. But I'm waiting for the opening range, the first 15 minutes, initial balance, right, to really come into the market to give me an idea of what we're going to be looking at that range. And then I can take that range and anticipate, okay, if we break through, we pull back, could be in a possible trending market condition at that point in time. But overall, we're trending on a very short time frame, and we're still trading in the context of balance here. So what would it look like for us to move out of balance today? To move out of balance, what I would really want to see, and don't laugh at my drawing. I'm a terrible artist. I can mess up stick figures, and yeah, it's terrible. But as we're coming up right into this market, I'm anticipating if we do move higher today, we could move into this area up here. And if we do that, we're probably going to see something along these lines: a move up, breaking out of these highs, a pullback into those highs, and then a continuation play to the upside. So if I wanted to start scaling and adding in contracts, above this high would be a good place for me to start scaling to moving into the upside. Okay. And then if we're looking at an area of balance, we're balanced until we really come down into this area in here. Why? Because this is the area where we really started to see some momentum and a lack of trading in here. We could fill in this area, and if we do, we could be in a trending condition, and that's where I'd be looking for shorts for a continuation to the downside. Now, in a single profile where we're up here and coming down here, I'm probably not looking at that in terms of a single day, but for a multiple day perspective, that's where I'd be looking for a trend to start in the downside. And then this is where I'd be looking for a trend to possibly come up, move us into exploratory highs or previous highs up here in this area. And so that's what I'm looking for in the context of balance for this morning in auction market theory. And then I'm looking for those areas of where I'm going to be scalping, where buyers and sellers are having a conversation. And in that conversation, what's going to happen is one of them is going to step aside. And when they do, the side that's left is a conversation we want to go with. And we're going to follow that analogy within footprint charts, looking for order flow confirmed through what we're seeing in the auction through volume profile. Any questions there? Oh, good, good. Yeah. So let me definitely message you tough times. That's a great idea. I like that idea. Thanks for sharing. Um, and so it's what 8:35. We're going to watch this. If I see any positions until the 9:30, I'm going to go ahead and scalp those positions through the sim, but then we're going to go ahead and transfer over to the live account at 9:30 and start trading this for real. Every day my profit target is around 2,000, 2,500 per lot in the NQ. And of course, per lot is contract. I'm only doing 1 lots for my initial entries. I will scale into up to 4 lots if necessary, or if it gives me that area where scaling in is possible. Let's say I get into a position and it comes against me, 20 points or so. Use that 20 points, and let's say buyers start stepping in. If we get above that area where buyers stepped in, I can go ahead and add another contract, dropping in my average price. I don't really start to exit out of positions until I'm up about 200. And once I'm up about $200, I'll start scaling, or I'll start moving my stop at that point to start locking in profits, because my initial positions are always scalping, but I'm looking at entries to follow through in the context of momentum. So I'll just follow that momentum up. If that momentum doesn't come in, I don't like taking a lot of risk in my positions once I'm up a couple $100. I'm not here to give money back that I've already potentially earned. I'm here to lock in earned revenue, use those small gains to cover expenses, and then catch those runs that will turn around and provide, 50, 60, 70 points in a move. That's my trading style. I can do this in the context of day trading. I can do this in the context of scalping. For me, for my entries, I prefer to scalp at first and then transfer those positions into longer term positions if necessary. That's what I did when I first traded June 9th. I traded that market condition as a trend. I called it correctly at the live. Why I didn't see it last night in my replay, I don't know. But I only had 3 trades that day and it was up $15,000. I actually scalped that day last night as well after taking that long and realizing what I did. And in 3 hours, I was up 16 grand. And there's only like 4 or 5 trades that had 2 to 4 lots on there. But most of those trades, I'm only doing that to limit the risk to the position itself by putting on a hat of actually an investment manager rather than as a trader. I'm just getting into the market to bring my entry down so price doesn't have to go as far, so I can get it out a little bit quicker with a revenue position. Um, yeah, if you have a 99% sure signal and strong scalping strategy there, Lee, I would say, use that. Stop listening to me because, you've got an ATM machine there. Stop talking and use it. Um, Good golf. Any questions this morning about what it is that I am discussing here in terms of auction market theory and um, order flow? Auction market theory gives me a structure that I'm able to create a plan around of ideas, and then I use order flow to tie me into the market itself. And I don't see anything fun and exciting about with order flow at the moment, so it's not like I can sit back and talk to you about what's happening in order flow and go into that context right now, because there's nothing really happening. Some mornings at this point in time, we'll have news or we'll have something else, and order flow will be kind of fun to watch and to read. And it's not quite as quick as the US Open, so it gives you a little bit more time to be able to recognize what's happening and see it real time. But one of the things that we can notice here at the highs, okay, let's go into that. I need to figure out how to get rid of the spammers. I'll figure that out at some point in time. But one thing we can look at here with order flow, one thing I want to show you, market is coming up on this bar. and we're into the highs. We have 0 contracts, 12, 29 contracts, and 43 traded on the offer side. Now, that's total volume. So we don't know if that's delta, if that's market-driven orders, or if that's limits. We don't know, okay? But what we can say is when the market broke out of this area, we had 50 and 62 contracts, more contracts going off at the high here, near the high, comparatively to the last time we broke a previous high, and price action rejected. We didn't continue higher. We barely broke this high by a few ticks and started to come back down again. All right. That right here is your first picture. The buyers are starting to dry up. This information, to see it real time, can take a little while to be able to see. It takes practice. It takes time in order to be able to see it. But once you do, it completely changes what you're able to do in your own trading. You're no longer looking at price to go to a particular area or an indicator, and you're hoping and praying that it hits your profits target instead of your risk reward. Here, you know where you're wrong. Okay, if you're taking a short in this position because of that information and a weak high, not a rejection, because we don't know it's rejection until price action moves. But up here, we have a weak high, and we can call that weak high. And when price action gets back below the open of its current bar, that means it's a down bar, buyers are starting to show signs of rejecting a weak high by starting to trade down. And we can look at what it's doing on the way down. We have 10, we have 60 contracts. Over here, we have 50. We have 20, we have 18, we have 30, we have 50, we have 13. So less volume is bringing this market down. So not only do we have a weak high, where we have strong volume on the bid side or the offer for the buyers, not only are we seeing a weak high up there and higher, stronger volume that can't break higher highs, we're seeing price drop on weaker volume. Who's winning the conversation? More buyers are talking. They're louder, right? They're more intense, and all of a sudden, the whispering of the sellers come in, and you see price drop off of the whispering, not the yelling. Take that analogy and really look at it and see what it means. Take two sides of a group of people. You know, they're for something and they're against something, and they're arguing and they're having that conversation. It's almost like a Senate. And then one of them stops participating in the conversation, or they decrease their octave, or their octave decrease causes price to come down. Price shouldn't be coming down on that lower volume if there is any form of buying pressure coming into the market. Now that we don't see buyer pressure in the market, we should be anticipating price action to continue lower. That's my trading philosophy and what I look at when I'm looking at order flow. I'm not looking at, all of these numbers and those type of things. I'm looking at what price is doing around highs, what price is doing around lows, what's the volume telling me around those highs and lows, and am I in, near, or around an area where I would like to do business. And where I would like to do business all comes from volume profile. And the volume profile in here is giving me all the information that I need, and it'll tell me if I'm in, near, or around areas that I would like to do business. And if you look at this chart, there's pretty much not an area around here that I wouldn't be interested in doing business. Now order flow is going to provide me with my entries. Why order flow? Because I'm using price and volume. And usually one of those two indicators, either price or volume, is going to be more of the leading indicator. If a leading indicator exists, it's going to be volume or it's going to be price. But sometimes one's leading over the other. Sometimes you'll get a very strong delta on that price is not reacting to, but then price reacts after that strong delta has already been put in. And then other times price will be moving in a direction and it's moving up, but very slowly. And then all of a sudden delta spikes and now we have a strong push in that forced trend direction. These are all different market conditions that we can get into. It's being able to recognize when they can possibly happen, which is almost at any given time, and being able to position ourselves in the market to be able to execute a strategy in order to be able to profit from the ideas. And the week high, right? I didn't have it on live charts. I didn't realize it wasn't there. And then now price action is continuing lower. And we're getting into the unfair highs of current value, or unfair lows, excuse me. Any questions? Any questions, any comments, anything you would like me to go over? And see, in here, this is an interesting area. This is one of the reasons why I like this platform. You know, it's telling you right here, you can easily see it, even if it's going without this dot. What it's telling you is that buyers are much stronger than sellers in this one particular area. And so how is that information useful for us? Well, as this price went down, if I would have been watching this real time, it'd been a lot more fun. I would have taken a position there and showed you how to do it real time. But this affords us an opportunity to look at it after the fact and be able to explain it a little bit more. Buyers came in to this area. We came in off of a nice down move. We now have rejection at these highs. Confirmed weak high is now rejection. We rejected off of that area. We tried to make a higher high here, and we did it on, you know, some volume. I wouldn't say it's necessarily strong volume, but for the time of day for the NASDAQ, it's not bad volume. And the price action rejected off of that high and came back down again, closing near its low, or closing near its open, okay? A little bit off the low. So we have wicks on both sides, which is possible rejections at bar, but we're not seeing any form of rejection when it comes to order flow. What happens on the next bar? Price action immediately opens and trades down. And as it's trading down and it comes back up someplace in time in here, we had a strong buyer that came into this market. This is now offering an area of possible support or resistance in the market, depending on if sellers or buyers decide to step in. This is the first sign of conversation. This is the first time that individuals have started speaking to us in the language of order flow for the NASDAQ since, I don't know, before 8 o'clock. So what happens? What we should be anticipating is one of two things, okay? Price action comes up, rejects off this area, comes back below where buyers once were, and now we're looking at price action to continue lower. Okay, why? Because price action came up, tested where buyers were once strong. If we see weak buyers in that area again, and price action can't get back up there and gets back below the open of the current bar, that means price action is actually responding to sellers at that moment, not to buyers. Now, does that mean that the market's just going to go down? No, but we know where we are incorrect in our ideology. We're not incorrect because of our entry point and we're using a set stop point and it's arbitrary. We now have an area of possible resistance or support in the market that volume is now confirming with price. So what happens on the next bar? Price action opens, comes up, tests up here. Look at the volume. Look at the volume 1, 0, 7, 8, 6, 8, 7, 180, 13, 5, 8, 13, 15, 5. Are we here where the strong volume is, or are we showing weaker volume at the highs? Well, it's weaker volume. What should we expect on weaker volume? Possible rejection. Price action gets back below this area on a down bar. There's your area to short. You're probably going to get in down here at 08, which is fine. Don't worry. We all pick up slippage on these positions because we're getting in at that point of conversation. And we don't care about the slippage because we're expecting some momentum to come into the market. And that's exactly what we see. And now we get back above this area, right? And look what happens. Now buyers come back in and support this area after we broke and got back through. We tried to test back through this area again, rejected off of that, and let's look at the sellers. 40, 40, 43, 33 when we tried to make a lows here. Look, 0, 3, 3, 5, 6. The sellers aren't even there to play at all, and we've got stronger buyers coming into the highs. What should we expect price to do in the short term? Go up. All right? This is what we're doing in the context of order flow. This is why I love, call them footprints, number bars, whatever it is that you want to call them. That's why I love trading these, because they give you an indication of what's actually happening within the bars. And you have an idea of where actual short-term support, supply and demand is, support and resistance. And you can start making your plays accordingly to these. Now, why am I not long here? Because we didn't break the high. We didn't make a higher high here. And so I'm not really all that interested in trying to take a position long after the move was already done. If I was already in here, I'd hold the position. But I don't really want to take a long position now because we didn't make a higher high going into it and we're pulling back. We could still go long, just not an indication I'm interested in. I'd much rather see a higher high, see a progression of price moving in the direction I want to go in. I'm actually seeing reasons to really short here. So let's see what happens. We're through this area. We know that we have buyers in here. So if we come back above the 13 price, okay, then we know that buyers could be stepping in again. But buyers are weak until we break these highs up here. So I'm anticipating a possible move back down to the downside. Because we're in rotation, I want to give this some room. Now I am going against the overall long-term direction here because we're in unfair lows. And unfair lows, you should be looking for long positions down here, not shorts. The reason why I'm playing on the short side is because of the momentum that came into this downside, and we're basically in a retracement right now of a lower market condition. So I'm looking for another rotation to come in and test these lows before we come in and we break these highs. That's my ideology behind the position, my thinking. Any questions, comments, concerns? Love to hear from you guys. Love to hear something more than just, gold confirmed signal, available Telegram group. Link in bio. Let me get right on that. That sounds like fun. All right, let me get my chart set up here. So buyers are actually starting to step in. I've got the sellers down here, which I'm anticipating price action to possibly come back down below again. I've had really low volume here in these highs. And so now the question is, are we going to continue to get that low volume in and test back into the low of this bar? Or are these buyers that are going to step in and push price higher? We don't have the answer. So we just wait. And we wait. And we wait for price to tell us what it wants to do by waiting for volume to come in to give us more information. We have VPOC in each one of these bars. It's raising a little bit, but it doesn't take much for it to come back down. We broke the highs here. Some buyers, nothing crazy, not a large amount. And now we're coming back down through the entry point of the original short. Should be testing back up here to see if buyers step into the market. And if so, price will go up. If not, rejection from this area and price action continued lower. Grab my stop here. Start bleeding risk out of the position. Waiting for price action to go to an area where profits start looking a little bit attractive. And then start bleeding out risk of the profits rather than risk to the initial position. And that's trading. Not hoping and praying that we hit a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio, a 3-to-1, whatever it might be. I'm absolutely doing what price and volume is telling me to do. Now, we do have, in retrospect here, right, a little bit of added volume here, which we did just fairly break these lows. And then we had a little bit more buyer stepping in. So we do have a conversation here at the low that I do need to be watching, but nothing in the context of actual high volume. So I'm still anticipating resistance to hold. What was once support, now resistance to hold, and price action to continue lower off of that resistance. And then let the trade decide what it's going to do. I would have loved to see some buyers step in here and trap some buyers. So we get trapped buyers and we start breaking lows, we're going to see a follow through of momentum. Love seeing that, but didn't see that here. It's 8:56. So still waiting for the US Open. Still trading on my sim account right now, waiting for that to happen. Did a lot more explanation today than trading this morning. But that partially goes with my mindset this morning, not as convicted in my trading as normal. So this is like a warm-up, like a warm-up before the game, right? You have the ball, you're going through, you're doing some passes, you're doing some other things, you're preparing yourself for the day. That's exactly what I'm doing here, is just preparation for the US Open. Staying on the court, staying impactful, doing what I need to be doing right now, but knowing that I'm not doing it in a way that's really, really going to impact me and my life. That can only happen through trading live. And I'm not talking about just revenue, I'm talking about expenses as well. All of that stuff impacts your knowledge and your ability to trade and the conditions you're able to trade. Well, good morning, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well on this fine Monday morning. It's a Monday morning, so we can expect some lethargic trade action, but it is also after a longer weekend too, so everybody might be coming in Monday morning ready to play as well. We don't know. This is why I don't create a bias for myself before I trade, is there's no reason for me to have a bias. I'm going to trade what price action and volume is telling me, and I'm going to go in that direction. I am there. That's better. If you do want to see the big picture of all my charts together, please definitely come into Twitch. You'll be able to see the full screen and see all of my charts at one time instead of just this one little footprint chart that you can in TikTok. TikTok's great. It gives us a chance to be able to communicate, gives you a chance to be able to ask questions and stuff, and develop your education if you're interested in auction market theory and volume profiling and order flow. Right? And that's what this is all about. It's about being able to create an idea of what you think the market can do in a particular day. And then you turn around and you manage the risk of that price movement. See, we never made a higher high. I didn't get crazy with it. I wasn't worried about where I was in the position. I don't see a lot of strong sellers in here, so I am going to get a little bit more aggressive in my stop than I normally would. Would like to see a little bit more movement down before I start moving my stop, but I'm just not seeing aggressive positions. I'm going to lock in $30 here and see what happens, and there we go. Price action shoots the other side, and I didn't get hurt on that position. didn't see it coming. I did not anticipate this. Did not see that coming. So I wasn't able to get into that long side. But when you're in these types of positions and they go with you, you just scale your position and just keep on scaling until it stops you out. This is why I don't use profit targets and those type of things. Because if I can get into a position like this, which I do, and it just starts running like it is, and you just keep taking profits and profits and profits out of it. I was in the flash crash in, what was that, 2010, 2011, whenever it was. I was trading the flash crash, and I was in a position, everything was fine, and all of a sudden the market dropped like 50, 60 points, and I was in the ES. I had 10 lots on at the time, and it scared me. I didn't even think. All I did was react, and I reacted to the market, and I just got out. I went flat, and it was ended up being down, I don't know, something stupid like 800 points. We saw curbs come in like 3 times that day. It was insane. I watched the whole thing unfold in front of me with nothing on, because I got out with like a, what was it? I think it was like a $1,500 revenue, $1,800. It was somewhere right around in there. By the time because I got out, went down like 50 points immediately, 60 points, and the ES usually doesn't do that, especially not in 2010. And then we got a pullback, and on that pullback, I was just like, you know what, I'm out, because that type of wide volatility, it could swing back pretty quickly and come back against us, and I didn't want that, and so I went ahead and got out, and then I just watched it just drop like 800 points, and I'm just like, man, it's crazy. But that's trading. You know, we don't always get in at the highs and get in at, or get out at the lows, or vice versa. That's not what this is about. This is about being able to manage risk, having an idea of what is going on in the market and what's happening, and where we are willing to take positions and entries. Here, this is just a scalp looking for the upside, a continuation play. We had a huge bar here. Price action came down, tried to retrace, not really retracing, looking for a pullback into this area. Pullback just hasn't happened enough yet, so I'm going to drop my stop in here, and this is an area where I am actually willing to start scaling into a position. So I'm going to give this quite a bit of room here. Coming back into the VPOC of this bar right now, which volume point of control, where the most volume traded at on this particular bar. Price action is attracted to, like, it's a magnet. Price action is attracted to large volume. It will usually come back and test those areas. And then on that test, does it continue moving in the opposite direction or not? But these are areas where we can be expecting pullbacks too. And I'm not really low enough here to be able to really scale in and make it meaningful to drop my entry point, so I'm not going to. And now we are starting to move higher. We're going to lock in our stop here at 35. We're up 140. We're going to keep our stop here. We're up almost 200 on the position, so I want to limit my risk to it. We didn't break the high up here. Now let's see if we can get some sellers coming into the market. So stopped out there with a small gain, up 420 today. I think 5 trades, no expense trades yet this morning. What happens here? I'm looking at the volume. Higher volume here. Couldn't break the highs. Really swift move. And be very careful here if I try to call a top. Not what I really want to do unless it gives it to me. I'm waiting for somebody to jump into this market, a buyer, a seller, somebody, in a meaningful way. Get a pullback here. I want to pull back. I want to pull back into like the 57 area for a potential short. Good enough. Now I have an area I can lean on where I can just put my stop. Or it breaks these highs, I want to be out and probably reverse and go into the opposite direction. But I am looking for a pullback here because this is a really big move. I'm looking for probably between about a 30 to 55% retracement. We're already about a 30%, so I'm going to take all the risk off this position. We're saying we're going to get us, you know, in between a scratch trade at $0 to $20 in the position. Beautiful. I'm cool with that. It's a free trade, right? I don't have to worry about right now having money at risk or anything else. It's a free trade, and if it starts going in my direction, I will just go ahead and bleed out more of the profits. And I don't have an area to lean on here in resistance, unfortunately, or an area of possible support that could be resistance to actually put my stop. So I'm kind of flying blind at the moment in terms of how I am scaling my stop. A lot of times I will do it based off of a market condition or something happening within the market, and I can't do that right now because I don't have that information. So I'm just using closes, lows, areas, and volume where I can see where there was a potential strength coming in, but a failure as well. And then where sellers stepped in. So I don't want to put my stop down in here, right? One, it's too close. Two, we could get a retrace into here, but I'm expecting the retrace to stop up in here and not come back up in here. But now price action is coming lower. That was the area of support I was looking at possibly, right? To come in, test. So now I'm going to put my stop just above that area. So that's a market area, reason for a stop, not just arbitrary. And now it's kind of arbitrary again because I don't really have good places to do it. We have a strong move here, not seeing a lot of continuation to momentum. I want to lock in a little bit more profits in the position, and there we go. 920 on the day, 6 trades, no expenses. Let's go. That's trading. That's how we trade. But what about your moving averages? What about your MACD? What about your, oh, I don't know, fibs? Yeah, I love fibs. Guys, I took my first trade in 1998. I had data. I was a 20-year-old. I had no idea what I was doing in the market. I was like 22. I don't know, something, early 20s. No idea what I was doing. I literally took my parents' garage, a 3-car garage, and I made an office on one side. And then got a satellite dish from BMI that brought data feed information in through a coax cable from the satellite dish to like a cable box. And it connected with a coax cable. And then that connected into my computer through a printer port, this the 24 plug printer port. And I was one of the very first people to actually use dual monitors on Windows. And this is what I did. That's how I got data coming in. We didn't have the minis at that time. I was day trading. My first market that I day traded was pork bellies. My second market I traded was SPOO, what we called SPOO at the time. The main S&P 500, the main index, $250 a point instead of this $50 a point stuff that we're dealing with here. That was the beginning of my trading career. Had no idea what it was that I was doing. Oh, too funny. It took a while. It took a while to get there, to get to the point where I was able to do it live. Let's see. Sorry, I have to grab some information for somebody. I recorded a lot of videos this morning and didn't give a link. I mean, it's what I do. I forget things like that. Now I have to remember where I put them. Yeah. Okay. I have a Discord as well, and that's what I was doing, just typing into Discord there for somebody that had a question. Now we have buyers. Now we have buyers stepping in. We have buyers stepping in at the highs. Why are we coming down? Why are we coming down if we have buyers stepping at the highs? If we have buyers here, shouldn't we be breaking these highs? Why are we coming down off of this area? These are the questions that we should be asking ourselves. Legitimate questions. If we have strong buyers coming in here, why are we coming down? And now strong buyers broke the highs, did so fast enough that I wasn't able to get in as we broke this extra area here. We just popped. And so wait. But now we came up, we made those highs, and we've closed off of them. So what would I anticipate here? Rather than just a bar opening and coming up and breaking these highs, I'm anticipating a pullback. Price action to come back and test where sellers once were. Okay, before the buyers stepped in, and then we see who's in control. No better way of seeing who's in control than being in the market. Because once you're in, the focus gets a little bit stronger, right? You're more aware of what's going on. You're no longer wondering what direction I should go into or what should I be doing right now. You've already made the decision, and now you can turn around and you see price differently because the perception of how you enter shifted to now, how do I manage this position? And you see information differently when that shift occurs. Because the way you manage a position is not the same. You don't look at the same information as you would to enter a position. And yes, as I go on here, I will learn how to block the spammers. I haven't figured that out yet. But right now, I'm focusing on trading, not trying to get spammers out of my chat at the moment. We can just let those guys be. They can do what they want to do. Nobody's listening to them anyhow. Barely breaking the high there. Only up 150, but I'm going to go ahead and turn this into a free trade. I just don't want to give as quick as this market is moving right now, one direction or another. I don't want to give this a lot of room. And I'm also adding in a bit more cushion for potential slippage of the market coming back down because I don't want to turn revenue into an expense. Leaning on VPOC as a possible area for rotation. And let's see if we get buyers stepping in there. We do not yet. Yep, there we go. Now, if buyers are strong, we're going to break the high, right? We just pulled back. And so sellers, we shouldn't get price back down in here now if this market's strong, because we already tested where sellers were. Now we need to see and test buyers. We're not breaking the higher highs. So let's go ahead and break in just a little bit more profit. As we break this area anyhow, we're going to go ahead and get stopped out. So might as well lock in a little bit more profit as it's still trying to figure out what it's doing. And then if it breaks, we're still in. And if it stops us out, well, we got, an extra $10, $15, $20, Starbucks money, whatever. There we go. 1,075, 7 trades, no expenses. Let's go. Oh, this is trading. This is trading, ladies and gentlemen. This is trading. Still here in this area of support. Price action can absolutely come up and break these highs right now. I'm not interested in playing because we didn't get enough of a pullback there. And I'm looking for that pullback because of this wick here. Not because it's a rejection wick. It's because we came up, we made a high, and now we closed below, the 1/3. We closed below where strength would be expected. So I'm anticipating a pullback, come back, test where buyers once were, possibly test in here, even better, test where sellers once were, and then give us an indication that buyers are back into the market, and then we can go in long and anticipate this high to possibly break. I think we're trading around VPOC on this higher time frame. Yeah, VPOC's 565. Where are we at right now? Oh no, we're at 8. We're way above that. Okay. Well, we're up here. Huh. All right. Well, yeah, I should be long. Got in a little bit late, but that's fine, because we should have momentum carry through to the upside here from a longer time frame perspective and what we'd be expecting to see in auction market theory. Anticipating higher price action here. Now, it'd been better for me to be in here because then I'd already be out in a scalp, right? So now I have to wait for this rotation to this market a little bit because I got in so high. But where I got in, price action could just run. And if it runs, at least I'm participating in it. And if it doesn't, then it's going to come back. And if it comes back, now I have an area possibly where I can start to average myself into the market a bit, as a investment manager would do instead of an actual trader. But we broke the high, and we could easily rotate back down again here. I don't want to take the risk of that, so I'm going to add in a little bit of revenue. $1,120. I don't know, was that 7 trades this morning? No expenses? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just pushing buttons. Just pushing buttons. Oh no. Did I miss chats this morning? See, I still got to figure this whole thing out with trading and all of that good stuff. And these streaming live and trading live at the same time, all on your own. Oh my. Mistakes will happen, and hopefully they don't happen in trading, and let the mistakes happen on the stream side and the chat side. That's okay. I'm still getting the information out there to everybody. That's what the important part is. So price action broke the highs, and we didn't have nice, strong momentum coming in. So now we're looking for a possible rotation. And see here, I missed it, right? I missed it when it was happening. But see this 17 and these 10s and these 14s coming in? Look at when price action was down here. There's very, very little to no selling in there at all. and we only broke it by one tick. By one tick, that's all we broke it by. And then we get more buyers responding off of the low, and what happens? Price action turns around, it comes up and closes a higher bar. Makes sense to me. Now we're just trading in this little range here. Let's see if we break out of the range. I don't want to try to take a long position now out of a range at the moment because, well, I just don't feel like doing it. Lower low, right? Low volume down here so far. Do have a buyer stepping in here. Buyers and sellers are having a conversation here. See who steps away. See who steps away and who comes to the table. Right now it's anybody's game. Nobody is really getting more excited than the other side. Just kind of a calm conversation at the moment. Not something I want to step into. And nobody's won yet. Stronger selling here, unable to continue lower. Definitely rejection. When I say rejection, I talk about short-term rejection. Tried to come back down again, immediately found buyer support. Still trading in this tight little range. Couldn't come down. Test the highs. See if they break. Don't take any risk in case they don't break, or if they break by just a little and come back down into the area, because this is an area where we should see a breakout and see some momentum come into the market. Up 100. Leave my stop at 20 right now. Don't really want to move it. Turn it into a free trade. And let's see if we can get the momentum coming in for this breakout of this little range to the upside. So far, buyers are coming in aggressive at lower prices, so we're willing to defend the lower prices, but we're not willing to lift the offer into the highs yet, and there we go. Now we're starting to lift the offers into the highs. So now we have buyers wanting to participate at the highs to lift offers, and we have buyers wanting to participate at lower prices to buy to push price up in the first place. It's rather strong market condition. So we're going to lock in $40. Let it come down and stop us out if it wants to. It doesn't really matter at this point in time. And there we go. Stopped out. 1160. 8 trades. No expenses. Let's go. All right. Well, now we wait. 9:24, 6 minutes before the U.S. market opens, anticipating some volatility. And I just want to wait. I don't trade the open. Okay. I normally don't trade the open. There's sometimes I will. And I know that people say, that that's gambling, right? But it's usually I will only trade it when I will hold a position over, like I will enter a position from like 8:30 news or something like that, and I will hold the position through the US Open, anticipating an imbalanced market condition to cause a trending market condition, right? To click in, and I'm just trading the momentum of the open. Okay, I will do that. But to initiate trend or initiate actual new trades before the market open, no, not interested, because there's so much volatility at the open that, I just don't want to. I don't want to assume that risk. As you can tell, I don't take a lot of risk anyhow. I mean, some people say, well, $1,000 on one lot, that's a lot of risk. Okay, yeah, maybe so. All right, my perspective, not a lot of risk. But I'm really quick to bleed that risk out of the position if necessary, if the market's given me reasons to bleed it out. I was playing music. Here's the problem with music, right? Some platforms don't like us playing music. Other platforms don't mind the music. Other platforms will mind the music for smaller creators, but not for the larger creators. There's not a lot of consistency in the whole thing. Would I like to play music right now? Absolutely. Would love to. But it's not really worth it. Plus, you know what? I'm not here to show off a rock concert or my playlist, right, or my favorite playlist, or putting something on that I think that my listeners will like. No, I'm here to trade. I'm here to focus, right? Focus with a sense of urgency, putting me on the court so I can create the results in my life that I want to live. Plain and simple. And there's not room for that in there's no room for that on the court in life, because the system isn't designed to allow that to happen on the court. Beautiful. I play with the rules that are around me and engage within those rules, rather than trying to create my own rules or pushing the envelope for whatever purpose. This is my livelihood, and I don't want to mess with my livelihood. Okay. Well, we are about ready to go live. There's something that I want to do, but I'm not quite sure of where they are. I'm looking for something and not quite sure right now where it's at. Let's look. Okay, so we have a gap higher from the overnights, trading in unfair highs right now in the current profile. And we are getting ready for live trading. All right. So the information presented in this stream is for educational and entertainment purposes only and should not be considered financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. Any trades, analysis, opinions, or market commentaries shared during this stream reflect my personal views and are based on my own trading experience. Nothing presented here should be interpreted as a recommendation to buy, sell, or hold any financial instrument. Trading futures, stocks, options, and other financial products involves substantial risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Past performance is not indicative of future results. You should conduct your own research and consult with a qualified financial professional before making any investment decisions. This stream is intended to demonstrate my thought process, market analysis, risk management, and decision-making in real time. Any trade shown may be simulated or live and should not be copied or followed without understanding the risks involved. By reviewing this content, you acknowledge that you are solely responsible for your own trading and investment decisions. There. Get the risk disclaimers out there. Now, getting ready to trade. Make sure that I'm on the right one. Beautiful. Now let's go ahead and see where we're at in this evaluation. This is through Tradeify and TikTok. I'm trying to get this set up for you. So this is Tradeify right now. I'm on a $150,000 evaluation, and let's see here. Sorry, I'm just trying to get everything set up for TikTok so they can see everything properly. And the first day of trading on this platform, and I believe in transparency, full transparency. So right now that's the only day that was traded. Gosh darn it. I'm really having a hard time getting TikTok set up to see this. There, maybe that will work. There we go. So that's the first day. 1425.88 in revenue. And the first day of trading, 12 trades. There was no expenses in there. And that's where we're at. So we're going to see if we can continue that game plan. Now here's initial balance. Initial balance is actually pretty wide this morning. I was anticipating that to happen because we had a pretty tight range overnight. Not tight as in, how should I word that? How should I word that so I don't confuse anybody? We didn't break out of any areas. We didn't do anything crazy in the overnights. And so we are anticipating rotation in a rotational market condition. What's going to break that potential condition? It's going to, now we have initial balance, right? We're going to have to break out of the initial balance. And if we break out of the initial balance, I'm gonna stop bringing my charts over to TikTok for everybody to see on TikTok. If you're on TikTok, you want to see my charts and all of them on my screen, come over to Twitch. Okay. Not trying to get anybody over to the Purple app, not trying to do anything else. You can go to YouTube as well, but it's someplace where you're going to be able to see a horizontal full picture of my charts instead of just a small vertical screen. And I can't continue moving things around to try to appease a platform, what I would call deficiency. So if you want to see the full screen, come on over so you can see what I'm talking about. We're currently coming down right now into unfair lows of current profile, where we're anticipating price action to possibly break the highs around the 3090 range. I'm sorry, not the 3090, 30,900. If we break the 900 range, okay, we can move up into the 997s, 100 points. So we're looking at a possible trending market condition at that point in time to bring us up there. but we're not there yet. And if we come down into the 63.5 area, we could see possible support down in there. That support will probably end around the 84.5, and then we can start moving down lower into the 553s. So about another 100 points onto the downside. Other than that, within IB this morning, opening range, we're going to be looking at initial balance opening range, whichever one you want to call it. We're looking at a rotational market, and I'm going to trade it as such. And I'm waiting for 9:45 to be taking positions. Any questions? Any questions, comments, or concerns before we get started this morning? We have switched over to the valuation account. And we will be trading accordingly. Have buyers up here. I'm anticipating price action to actually reject in this area, so I'm looking at these highs to break either on this bar or some subsequent bars, but I'm not expecting this high to hold. I am expecting this high to break. And I really like that area. I would love to buy up in that area on a break, but I'm trying to maintain my consistency of trading times, which to me at times can be negotiable. Discretionary, if you will. I think that's the proper word we should probably use. Discretionary. I think every rule is supposed to be discretionary. Now I'm anticipating this high to break. Darn. I really wish I had an idea of what it was that I was doing. I really wish that in trading, I could see what's happening with inside these bars and be like, you know what? I'm anticipating the highs to break there, and then it actually happens. I mean, I would really like that to happen sometimes. It's ridiculous. Possible resistance here. Looking for price action to possibly come back down into the 870s to test where support possibly was. And if we get above this area, we're probably going to come back and test the high of the IB. Pull back directly into that area, found buyers. Not anticipating this to be rejection here. Get my other chart up so I can see that a little bit more clearly. Now looking for possible pullbacks into test the 31,003 range, 31,000 range. Possible trending market condition higher. And I'm still 7 minutes out from being able to take trades. You see what I mean? This is why it's an arbitrary, discretionary decision for me in not trading the open, because it's hard, because I see stuff, and when I see stuff and it does what I anticipate it to do and I'm not in, I'm like, nah. But that's okay though. Plenty of opportunities for me to get into the market. I just need to be patient and wait. Patience and I mean, we shook hands a long time ago and said goodbye. Definitely not besties. Patience and I. I really want to buy. I really want to add to the long. Really anticipating these highs to break here. pull back into that area. Another reason to add back in for the long position. Now anticipating these highs to break and to go up into the 30s, the 35s, the 40s, the 45s, possibly higher. Price action is coming through. And I'm sitting in my hands waiting for another 5 minutes. I'm being disciplined this morning. Yeah, but even if you're long at the 20 area, right, and it goes to 25, I mean, it's 100, right? You enter here, you scale in here, you're in by about the 15 area. By the time you're at the 25 area, you should be looking at moving your stop to a break even anyhow. So, I don't know, I wasn't in the position, so I have no idea what I would do. Breaking through the lows, a reason to short there. If you were short here around 70, and there's 65, there's 60, and just trail the stop accordingly. I'm not telling anybody what to do here. I am simply doing just talking about what I am seeing in the charts currently, because I'm waiting for my time when I can start trading. Coming off of unfair highs, moving down towards initial balance, probably take this out. There's another short. Price action is coming up here, reasons to add up there. Price action still coming down. Anticipated possibly come down into the 700s. Midline of initial balance. If we don't get down into the initial balance low, anticipate price action to come up above here, being an indication of possible buyers, or at least getting through a level of resistance that could possibly turn back into support, and then price action to move higher. But that's not happening, so anticipate price action to move lower. Oh, look, a buyer. This is a conversation. This is a conversation in the market. Buyers, sellers getting strong at these areas. Don't worry about the dots. Dots just give you a visual representation of what's happening. You've got to understand and know what those mean before actually doing anything. Okay? Buyers and sellers having a conversation, price actions coming down when it happened, right? Kind of traded through here a little bit. If this breaks, anticipate stronger movement to the downside. Exactly what we got. I'm 2 minutes from being able to demonstrate this at the live edge. Got almost into IB. This area is going to be interesting here. This area right here is going to be interesting to see what happens. And we really don't have another entry or another area of interest until we get up here. Let's get ourselves into the live edge and get ready to trade. Price action is hitting resistance right now, getting above to that resistance area. Price action is probably going to do whatever it wants to, and I'm not going to try to predict it. I am just going to trade it. Not predict, trade. Two different things. All right, that happened pretty quickly. Wasn't even able to really read it too much. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. So up 200, we're locking in 40, just in case it comes back against us. Anticipating this to possibly come down and retest IB low. We now have a buyer in here. I'm going to go ahead and go back into the long side. We do have rejection down there, up to 30, up 300, lock in 75, lock in 100, 83.48 so far, 2 trades, no expenses. Let's go. Possible sellers in here, but I'm not looking at this market going down right now. I want to wait and give it a little bit of time. From a longer term perspective, we are seeing some rejection up here. Holding that as resistance. Do we get back through? Do we get back through? Holding that as support, expecting these highs to possibly break. Did not break yet. Okay, so I don't like that area of support right there that just came into the market. And with the buyers right here, I'd like to be long above that area. So I'm going to go ahead and do something I normally don't do. I'm going to bleed some of this risk out to this position, not too much, because this is my area of contention right now. Above here, I want to be long. As long as I'm below this area, I'm still anticipating this market to still go lower, but we're not seeing price action come down below, so I'm going to go ahead and take a hit here, possibly. Yep, there's my hit, okay? But now I'm going to have to go back short again, and I just lost my position. All right. Let's try this again. Let's trade this. This is going to cycle up now. So 25, 27. I can go about up to here. I don't really want to take much more of it than that. When we get back through this level again, we have reasons to believe that we could be looking at lower prices. Price actions coming up near unfair highs right now. That's why I'm holding this area at the moment, because I'm anticipating this area to possibly hold. I'm seeing nothing but strength in this market right now, so I'm not necessarily anticipating that to happen, but it could. Yeah, I got out of that short. And when my entry was, I could have been out with a break even and long. That's okay. That's all right. This is where we recover. So price actions at an area of possible resistance on a longer time frame perspective, but price action on a lower time frame perspective is telling us nothing but long. And now we've got stopped out. And I'm going to wait. Wait. And no, I'm not. I am all over the place this morning. This is kind of what I was afraid of and why I wanted to trade this morning, because I could feel where I was kind of all over the place. And I was expecting these types of mixed results. But this is where the Human Performance Lab comes in. What do we do under pressure? And how do we maintain ourselves on the court to take the action we need to get the results that we're looking for? Give us a little bit more room here. Back long here. Okay, there's 105, there's 110. Quite enough. Okay. A little bit more price action to the upside. There we go. 35. Okay. Getting pretty close to my drawdown. So now I want to go ahead and take this to the downside. Through the area of resistance. We've got rejection above us. Getting support there. Want to see if we can break through the support. Okay, broke through the support. With the stop to a break even. Okay, up 225, we're going to lock in 60. Up 300, we're going to lock in 95. See if we can break the low here. Nope, not yet. Okay, beautiful. So now I'm going to give this area a little bit of room. And I'm going to wait. We have a new bar here, closed near its high. Let's go ahead and see if we can get a continuation move here to the highs. It's 110, okay. Up a couple hundred, lock in 15, lock in 35. Do we get a little bit of momentum here this morning in this position here? Break these highs. 300, we're going to lock in 100 this time. Not wanting to break the highs yet. Okay. All right. Now we're looking for a continuation move to the upside. I'm anticipating these highs to break. Much have rather gotten in much lower than I did, and this is part of my issue with my trading this morning. Not a good look for me this morning, and not because of the results. It has nothing to do with the results. It has everything to do with my trading and what it is that I'm doing. And what's happening here is I'm trying to be right. I'm live. I'm trading live in front of people. I'm trying to be right in the context of my trading. And I'm absolutely 100% all over the place and just blew up my account, which is fine. This is perfect because I did that at the live edge. And look, there's the short and now it's going. My issue is I try to be right. And when I try to be right and I'm in that context, I mess everything up. But when I slow down and just trade what I see in the charts, I'm good to go. This is going to be a problem for me in this context. It's going to be a big problem for me. And I need to get through it because this is what I want to do. And it's not the streaming, it's not, those type of things. It's the Human Performance Lab. The whole reason and purpose that I have the Human Performance Lab up here is, look, I have a lot of gray hair in my head, okay? And what does that mean? That I have a lot of life experience. That's about all that that means. I'm older and I have more experience, okay? Because of age, not because of anything grander, anything else, just age. In the context of that experience, I know what it's like to live in abundance, and I know what it's like to live life in a lack of abundance. I've been on both sides of the railroad tracks multiple times on each side. And when I perform well, when I'm doing well, I'm not trying to, well, I should put it this way. When I'm not doing as well in my life, I'm struggling. I'm struggling because I'm not on the court. I'm in the bleachers. I'm watching something else play out my life. My identity, my habits are on the court playing out my life, and I'm observing and watching it play out. And when my identity is on the court and playing out my own actions, and I'm watching, I'm fearful that I'm going to make the wrong decisions. I'm fearful that I'm going to do something wrong, that I'm going to fail. And that's all aligned to the habitual processes that play out when I'm not on the court. And I recognized I wasn't on the court this morning. I recorded 3-4 videos. This is one of those days where it's like, okay, I probably shouldn't trade, but I wanted to anyhow because I wanted to test my theory. Not say, okay, this is true, but to test my actual theory. And this is what I mean. Watch this. Have to. Took the expense, which is fine. Managed that expense. And now I have to be long again. Because of what I'm anticipating the price action to be doing. Price actions close at its high, anticipated test into that area of support. Move our stop below that area of support. Took that hit there, was about 1100, I think is what it was. Now I'm at 1050. So still down a little bit from the high of where I was, but pretty close to making a new high in the account. So let's see, or on the day. Still looking at 31,000 as a possibility. Sellers in there. Hitting that support. Anticipating highs to break here. If highs don't break, we're going to get through this area. So I can move my stop now. Up 185, up 200, can lock in a free trade. Price action is getting above where the buyers stepped in. We're going to move our stop right down here, anticipating a possibility of testing that area, and price came back down again. Now a new high in the count. There we go. I missed the short. I was in way too late. Way too late. This is what I mean by slippage. Way too late into that move. Okay. Should already be out with some revenue. Now we got some support coming into the market, and I'm going to go ahead and rest 320 on this position. It's probably going to come up and stop me out right now because I got in way too low. Did not hit me. Is that up 200, up 60? Haven't been up 200 yet in the position. Haven't broke the low. Yeah, this is going to come up and stop me out now. Still risking 350 in the position. Buyers are here. So where do you want to be long from? And now we're going to have to go long again, but this time not in a better position, which we should have been in here. I just got into that short way too late. It's because I'm getting in because I'm waiting for the I'm waiting for confirmation. I am waiting for confirmation instead of getting in at the edge is exactly what I'm doing. Getting in at the edge is shorting here, not shorting down here. Getting at the edge is buying here, not buying up here. That's my issue. That's what's happening when I'm not on the court. Okay. All right. We're going to go ahead and, well, can't now, but we come back up and test these highs and move my stop to a break even, just like that. And I'm going to start trading this accordingly to the way I need to trade. Okay. So this is where the sellers are. This is where the buyers are. This is qualification. This is the first edge. This is the second edge. Like I said, this is where the buyers are. This is where the sellers are. This is where the sellers are. And right now, buyers are in control. We got to get through this area of support. We're having a hard time with that right now. We're having a really hard time with it. Okay, I'm 200, moving stop to basically a break even. Seeing a lot of momentum in here. I could buy in here, but it's not really my edge. My edge to buy right now is right down here. but I'm waiting. I'm waiting for that. Excuse me. Now we have a possible trap seller below us. There we go. There's a reason to long. Not because the trap seller is here, but because look at the weak volume. Look at the weak volume down there at that low when that low was tested. 115, 120, 185, 195, locking in 25, up 200. Stay with the 25 right now, up 300, lock in 80. Up in 400, lock in 120, go a little bit higher, right below this area. Just broke that high. We can go below these opens and closes right here. Up 400, I'm going to lock in 290, and go right below these opens and closes here. A little resistance right here. See if we can push through it. Nope, not yet. Okay, lower highs here, right? Less buying here at these highs than before. This is where sellers were once involved in this market. Price action still not moving higher yet. We have our area of support right down here. There's a support. We're breaking through it. Let's go ahead and short. Price action is coming back into the resistance again. Let's see if we break the resistance and turn it into support, or if we get lower. Some reasons to add in here. I'll go ahead and put a limit in here just to reduce the risk a little bit in case we get down there. Because I'm looking at this breaking right now. We've got some strength coming in here, and price action has not taken that strength and testing into lower prices. We got to get through the open of this bar because we need to get through VPOC here. A lot of volume is growing in here. And we had a little bit of sellers there, but look at what that happened on that sellers. We immediately came up and pushed into the high. This is rotational to the upside. This is going to more than likely stop us out and break the highs and not come in and make lower lows, which is fine. Because now we're going to come over here. I'm going to break this high. And as soon as we do, I want to be long, looking for momentum to the upside. Barely broke that high. If we get back through here, reasons to short, but now we're shorting at the upper range and not the lower range. Much better. Much better for positioning, much better for everything. We're going to go ahead and short here. Move our stop here. We're going to go long right above this area. Anticipating momentum coming through the highs. And I'm seeing some rejection up here at the highs instead of acceptance. Let's see if that continues. If this trade becomes an expense, this will be my last trade for the day. I need to go back and hit the I need to go in and hit the drawing board. Not because my methodology is messed up. It's the psychology. I told you guys I'm not on the court right now, and it's so irritating. Uncle, how are you doing? It is so good to see you. This is actually my first live stream with live trading. Yes, and it's awesome actually. I'm having a very miserable time. I um I knew I wasn't on the court this morning, and so I went to sim. I was practicing on the court, right? And I was kind of there, and I realized I was there, but it was more like I was a cheerleader in the stands and not showing up where I need to, right? And so I was kind of in that area of on the stands, not on the stands, and it has been an absolute rough morning. It is very difficult for me to stay on the court when I'm live like this in front of what could be an audience. I can feel myself getting nervous. I could feel my voice, right, giving out a little bit. Um, it's not it's not a comfortable environment for me to be in. And I'm getting into longs at the top of ranges instead of shorts, and I'm getting into shorts at the bottom of ranges instead of longs. And so my whole perception on this whole thing right now is off. My results are all over the place, and I'm loving every minute of it. I'm loving every minute of it because this is my opportunity to grow. I see myself and what's happening right now, and I really want to do this at the live edge, in front of individuals to be able to have this program, right? But I have to be able to execute in order to be able to do that. But what better way of showing my own personal flaws and failures in doing that when I go live into a live stream and I'm not performing the way I need to perform. And that's what my whole work is all about. So it's good to see you, Uncle. Thank you so much for tuning in. I really, really appreciate you. I hope I was able to see your comments before you signed off. I also want to thank you too for all of your support in this work. You're constantly commenting on things. You're amazing, and definitely a bright light in my path here of figuring out how I do this and show up on the court ready to go. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. That's the key, right? See, look, okay, I'm going to share something with you, right? Oh, I love you. You're amazing. Okay, check this out. All right. We can show up live. Like I literally was up for $1,425 in my account. I showed it earlier last week on Wednesday when I traded live, right? I went live and I just traded and good to go. When I show up on stream, it completely messes with my performance ability. It messes with my psyche. I'm not fully aware of where it's messed up right now. And of course, how do you change something you're not aware of, right? But that's the key, is being able to identify these issues and fixing them at the live moment, because to me, that's what's going to help people, because I know I'm not the only person struggling with this, right? I'm not the only person struggling with this at all. We all do. But my question is, who's showing up at the live edge? That's the key. That's my question. Who in this world that are teaching ideas and different things, who's showing up at the live edge and doing this and fixing it in the moment? They talk about it after the fact, or this is what you need to do, but how is that really going to help people? That's just advice, and it helps a small group of individuals, not the whole. And it's not like I'm trying to fix the world. It's really, honestly, I have a deficiency inside myself, and I don't want that deficiency to control what I'm capable of doing. I don't want that deficiency to control my possibilities in my life. That's what gives me the urgency to focus on my intention and to be able to move forward and do this at the live edge. I'm going to get there. I'm 100% going to get there. Am I failing miserably today? 100%. But I am so grateful for the failure. I'm grateful for the failure because it's able to demonstrate my work in a whole new way. Not perfectly, not this is all happening perfectly. It's a process. And we're able to see the failures. We're able to see the stumbles. We're able to see, the bumps and bruises and the scrapes and all the nastiness. But then we're also going to see the fruits on the back end. So I'm going to be streaming from 9:30 to probably 10:30, about 9:40 to 10:40, Monday through Friday, for an hour. And then I want to come back around 2:30 to 3:30, maybe 4:30, discuss what I did in the morning with my trading, maybe replay, seeing where things went right, seeing where things went wrong, really honing in where all that stuff happened. That way I can make my mistakes in the live edge, but then turn around and go back and replay that data again in the afternoon and see what went wrong, see if I can see how I could have done better. And then that's what's going to start marking the neuroplasticity, right? The wires in our brains for change. And then sleep will start to evolve that change. So that's the plan. We don't let one bad moment ruin the rest of our moments. Yeah, what's the one thing that you heard one time? Have you ever read the book, The One Thing? If not, check it out. It's a great book. The One Thing is absolutely amazing. But yeah, please tell me. But yeah, no, so the understanding is not to let a moment ruin the rest of the day. Not let an experience ruin the rest of the week. Not let our life scripts play out for any more time than they need to. Thank you so much for having this conversation with me. I really, really do appreciate this. This is amazing. I like this. I like the camaraderie. I like the communication. I love the sharing of the ideas. That's why this is a lab, right? We're here to understand what's happening at the live edge, not to we're here at the live edge, not to be perfect. You forgot because I was rambling. I will do that sometimes. I will just start, I'll get a thought and I'll just share it and I'll dissect it and I'll rip it apart and then put it back together again. It's kind of what I do. I'm fortunate. I'm a very, very deep individual. I don't spend too much time on the surface, and I don't know exactly how to be shallow very often. And not shallow in personality, but in depth, to stay just on the surface. I don't do it well. That's not my cup of tea. I like to dissect things. I like to pull things completely apart and then see if I can put them back together again. And sometimes when you put them back together again, they show up in a completely different new way. Trading for me is one of the hardest things I've ever done in my life. I've had periods of times where I've done extremely well. I've had periods of times where I haven't. This is a court that I've chosen, not because it's a court that I believe everybody should be on or everybody wants to be on. It's my court where pressure shows up and I don't do well at all. And I immediately know that I'm not on the court. I know I'm in the stands observing my life, and I absolutely do not like the person that I am when I'm not on the court. But I love who I am when I'm on the court. What got me started on the streaming or what got me started in trading? Or both, Uncle? Which one? The practice? What got me started on the practice? I went through a really, really bad divorce in 2020. To the point where I was having really, really bad thoughts. Very negative thoughts. I was trapped in my own despair. I was trapped in my own failure as a husband, as a parent, as a father. And I let that impact me in a very negative way for about a year. And then I was like, you know what? this can't be, this cannot be the end. This cannot be the end of my story. I'm not going to let it happen. And so I started to, I wanted to help myself and I wanted to help other people at the same time. But how can you help other people if you haven't helped yourself? So I actually wrote from the December of 2020, I wrote 2 books over 2 separate weekends. And they're still out there on print and Amazon. I wouldn't advise them. They're not very good. But I started to really develop a program that might be able to work for me and get me out of where I'm at. I spent about $120,000 on self-help in my life. It came from a place of a very, very strong trauma as a child. And so my whole thing is, how do I get past my own trauma? How do I get past my own issues? How do I do it in a meaningful way that's lasting? And out of that $120,000 I spent, nothing has been lasting. And what I found was the return. What it's doing is taking concepts from Andrew Huberman. And Andrew Huberman tells us that focus, urgency, action, and sleep is what changes the neuroplasticity wires. Those are the habits. Those are our life scripts. Those are all of the things that make us who we are. But here's the problem with this idea of who we are. Who we are is a facade created from our environment when we were very young. And the environment stops shaping our life at about the age of 25. Neuroplasticity wires become hardened, and the environment no longer shapes those wires. Conscious participation does. And when I figured that out, it like clicked for me. But then I realized, who is teaching conscious participation? Who's teaching that, to actually consciously participate, and what that actually means in that context? That was like my aha moment. And that's where I developed the system. And I developed the system in, August of last year. And I'm really trying to just develop my message right now, because I feel like I'm kind of all over the place, and that my message isn't necessarily all that clear. And then I got the bright idea of breaking this down into a classroom and in the lab, right? In the lab we practice, right? In the classroom we talk about theory, we talk about all of the other stuff. In the lab we apply that theory. Okay? So this is the application to the theories that we're applying in the classroom. And now can we develop that? And in that development, can we break out of the habitual patterns that predict our future behavior? Allow conscious intention to come online and conscious participation to come online, changing our actions and the habitual processes within our central nervous system, including our brain, and allowing us to transform our life, not for a period of time, but lasting. Hey, Game Fetish, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping in. Thank you for saying something. I really appreciate this. How are you doing today? It's good to see you. Uncle, does that answer your question? That's the key in all of this. And that's what it is that I'm trying to do. And I found trading. And trading isn't something... I stopped trading in 2019 when I went through my divorce. I tried back again in 2020, and it all fell apart, and I was not there at all. And trading is the place where, in the terms of my own personal performance, if I'm not performing well, if I'm not on the court, I immediately know. because it gives me immediate feedback. And not only do I know because of the feedback, but like this morning, I already knew. That's why I was in sim before I came on, trying to get myself into the mindset where I need to be. But it had nothing to do with me as a trader. It has everything to do with me trading at the live edge in front of individuals on stream, because it's my lack of confidence. It's my fear of failure. It's my sense of not being enough, not being right, not being able to show up on the court in a positive way to impact it in a meaningful way in front of other people. Because I'm scared to death internally to do that. And it puts me in absolutely the wrong environment for me. And why am I here? To show that in the Human Performance Lab, to show that deficiency in performance, but that deficiency isn't from my conscious participation. It's from the habits that are controlling my life. And I think most people don't recognize that. How do I get people to recognize it? Do it live. Let's go. Show my deficiencies, open myself up into that type of environment, be that open with individuals. And maybe those individuals will see something inside themselves that will be their aha moment. The moment that the key goes into the lock of the door that's been keeping them stuck, and they're able to go through that threshold onto the other side. I am trading the NQ Game Fetish. I had a terrible morning this morning. My first stream live on a evaluation account, $150,000 evaluation account, and I just blew it up this morning. Because I am, oh man, and I traded last week on Wednesday. I was up 1425 in that account. I'm trading one contract. And so it's not that I don't know how to do this. It's I don't know how to show up yet at the live edge of trading and being live at the same time. And it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to trade if I'm not doing this live, because I wouldn't be doing the trading again. I wouldn't be going back into this industry if it wasn't a reason to do it, because it's not really, it's not that it's not what I don't want. It's what I want to do, but I don't want to do it alone, if that makes sense. So yeah, this is the NQ. I used to trade the ES heavily, the Russell 1000 as well. I would trade 18 lots in the Russell and 25 lots in the ES. I started trading in 98. I was with a third largest bank at the time. In 2007, I was on the trading floor in Charlotte, North Carolina. And then I went to a prop firm in 2008, stayed with that prop firm until 2010, and became a retail trader until 2019. That's my experience in trading. I've blown up accounts. I've done extremely well in accounts. I mean, I've taken $15,000 accounts and turned them into over $60,000 in less than 2 months. It's not difficult to do if you're locked in. But if I'm not locked in and I'm not on the court, I'm the worst trader in the world. So, Uncle, I hope that helps answer your questions of why the return, how I kind of created it. And please ask me anything. My whole thing here is to be. There's a conversation right here going on. Buyers are stepping in. It's reason to be long. Looking for a little continuation move to the upside here. Ask me anything. I'm not here to hide anything, and there's no topic that is taboo for me either. So please, I'm here to hopefully show individuals at the live edge that it is possible for us to intentionally move our lives into a intentional direction and have conscious participation driving our actions rather than habitual patterns and a prediction machine that's designed to predict our future behavior. Because if that prediction machine is not aligned to what you want, and how do you know it's not aligned to what you want? Because if you have intention for your life, you have something that you want in your life, and you're not able to do it, that's because something else is on the court acting. You're not acting aligned to your conscious intention. That's the key. As long as that predictive engine is in charge of your life, it's on the court playing the game, you're in the grandstands, you're in the bleachers, observing it, acting for you. And that's where we feel stuck. That's where we feel like we don't have control over our lives. Another breakout of IB here. So anticipate possible continuation play to the downside. Locking in 85, up 30, locking in 115, up 300, locking in 160, locking in 195, continuation through this area, bounced off of it. There we go. I don't even know what that was. 300, whatever. Doesn't really matter. At least the sim account's positive today, because I can't make the other account positive because I blew up the combine. Not the combine, but that's what it used to be. When these prop firms first came out, all you have is Top Step, and they had this combine and different things like that. And then other ones tried to get into the game as well, but there were issues within the regulations of the industry that kind of stopped some of that from happening. And Top Step was kind of in a gray area. Nobody knew kind of exactly what was going on. So others one tries to start. Top Step was really the big player. And then some of those rules changed in 2020 after the whole debacle with AMC and different things along those lines. And that's when they stopped kind of looking at this as taboo. I'm talking about the regulators and allowing it to be opened up a little bit, where they'll allow people to do this instead of trying to shut it down. Came right down into area of support. Sellers tried to step in at the lows, immediately started buying. So what's going to happen? We're either going to hold this as a level of support, move back into initial balance or the opening range for the daily, or we're going to break through these lows and we're going to see a continuation play to the downside. Downside would be an imbalanced market condition lower in a short time frame, still rotational in a longer time frame. And you're just trading the trend on the shorter time frame, waiting for support to pop up in the longer time frame positions. If you are on TikTok, I would ask you to come over to Twitch. I do have other trades that are other charts that you can see that I do talk about in terms of structure, because I don't structure my trades off of a 2-minute chart that they're for entries only. I structure myself off of market profile and volume profiling. Any questions? Any comments? Any concerns? Any critiques? I'm open to ideas. I don't want to have a method or a process that I give to individuals. Everybody's different. Everybody is different. How you find your conscious participation, how you find your intention, that's all with your path. What I want to do is I want to walk a path, and those individuals that want to walk that path with me, I invite them. I invite them completely to walk that path with me. That path isn't for profitable trading per se. That path is to demonstrate that conscious participation can come online, and you can start living conscious intention and living your life intentionally to your consciousness, where you stop feeling stuck in life and you feel like you have a say, because we were meant to have a say after the age of 25. A little bit before then, but very much so after 25, when the environment stops making the changes for us. I have traded gold in the past. Here's the thing, right? When you start looking at other markets, okay? When you start bringing in other markets into the equation, the way that they trade around value, the way they trade around market structure is a little bit different. So you got to understand those market structures a bit more. I trade the NASDAQ because of the probability of momentum in key areas. And I'm really trying to trade the momentum and scalp that momentum. And I can do that as a much better job in the NQ than I can in gold. Gold doesn't have those pops of momentum as much as like the NASDAQ will. I can do it in the ES as well, but the ES is much more rotational and the expansion doesn't happen as much. So I can trade it. Those are the reasons why I don't. Um, what is the difference between intention and want? Uncle, great question. Um, Nothing. Words and your definitions of them. See, some people, it's like, they're taught that, want or desire or something along those lines are bad. They're taboo, right? You're putting yourself in front of something else. Um, and so I use the word intention, but then I will replace it with want or some other words every once in a while to show the connection. Um, it's really something in your life that you decide that you want for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter if you're moving towards it or moving away from it. It doesn't matter if it's a positive statement or a negative. Like if you're moving away from something, that's fine too. Like fear, for example, right? I have a fear of doing this live. I don't feel like I'm very good at it. I don't feel like I am well spoken enough in order to be able to do this. I feel like I have so much deficiency in going live streaming. Nobody's going to understand a word that I'm saying anyhow. I talk too fast, I talk too much, and I go way too deep into information, right? But those ideas, where do they exist? Do they exist in reality? Or do they exist within my view of what I expect reality to be? And I go with the latter. Those are nothing but ideas. And as long as those ideas are controlling my actions, I'm not free to consciously participate in my chosen direction. And so intention and want, interchangeable. Use whichever one works for you. But a lot of us were programmed through religion and belief systems and people's views and ideologies of belief systems that allow us to move into an idea of a definition or move away from it. So I change them out independently. Instead of saying like desire, I'll say intention instead of want. Intention. What do you intentionally want? And it doesn't have to be the same want all the time either. Whatever is going to motivate you right now to give you the sense of urgency to show up on the court and impact your life in a meaningful way. Because if you don't do that and you're over 25 or 25 or older, you're going to, your predictive machine is going to do it for you. And if you want something in your life and you can't, and you're having a difficult time doing it, it's because the predictive machine isn't aligned to it. You need to align it to, align your intention to, align your actions to your intention. You have to do it consciously because the predictive machine is incapable of change at that point in time unless conscious participation comes online. That's what neuroscience is teaching us. And now how to develop a methodology to help people do that. Hence the Human Performance Lab. And I couldn't be doing this without you, without your input. And these are the type of conversations I want to be having with people because this is what's going to make it meaningful to others. And that's the impact I want to make. And to do that, I have to be in an environment that performance matters to me, that pressure matters to me, because it's pressure that causes me to have results like I did today. And you take that pressure away from me, I do just fine. And I love this because I need the pressure. So what am I going to do today? I'm going to reset my evaluation. And I'm going back at it again tomorrow morning. We're going to see what happens. Maybe I blow up the account again. Maybe I don't. We'll see. Did that help answer your question? And Game Fetish, did I answer your question well enough too about why I don't trade gold or other markets? It's all about study and it's all about time, right? And the amount of time that you're putting into the study of whatever it is that you want to trade. Uncle, thank you so much for being here. I truly appreciate you signing in and spending your time time is the most valuable thing we possibly have. And the fact that you were on your break and chose to spend your time with me, thank you. I really, really appreciate you. I appreciate everything. You have been here from the very beginning. And there's been times where I've been like, okay, I've had enough with this, but you've turned around and said something and I'm still here. So thank you. Can't express enough appreciation for you. Thank you. Oh, you guys are awesome. I love this. I absolutely, absolutely love this. And thank you for the kind words. Yeah. Yeah. Tomorrow's going to be a different experience. I can feel it already. See, and this is why when we struggle on our own, right? And we struggle to do something and it's just us. We were never meant to do these things on our own. We have always been led to doing things in community. And the community is when things start to really shine. Well, good times. I've had one heck of a day today. Oh my goodness. So funny. Have a friend I'm working on this whole project with and stuff, and I told them this morning that I was nervous, and they're like, "Why?" I mean, they've watched me trade live before where I wasn't streaming; they were just on, and they call me a market wizard. I don't agree with them, but that's the term that they call me, and so I'm just relaying the terms that they say. Um, and so they know what I'm capable of doing in the markets, and today was not a reflection of that by any stretch of the imagination. Um, but yeah, tomorrow's another day. Tomorrow is another day where you hit the drawing board and you move forward. And I'm extremely grateful for this experience. I'm grateful for this experience because it shows me one of the reasons why the streams are so important and why the streaming is so important for my work and for myself showing up under pressure and creating a community for that. Let's see right here. I was watching this, watching the buyers or watching the sellers dry up here a little bit more stronger selling coming in, barely able to break the lows. Buyers step in. There's your long. You know, see it. I see it clearly. But what I was trying to do today was going long in this area and going short in this area. And that's exactly the pattern of my predictive machine. And when I come in, I'm going long down in these areas. I'm going short up here. And when you're watching me trade, that's what you're going to be seeing when I'm trading and I'm on the court. Hey, Mar, how's it going? It's good to see you. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it. How you doing today? Anything fun and exciting? So Amar is actually the individual I was talking about when I said, he's watched me trade before when I'm not on streaming. in a short phrase, Amar, how would you describe my trading when I'm not streaming? It's night and day. Oh man, I figured this out, and it's gonna be pretty amazing. But I think it's gonna take me a little time to figure this out. I knew this morning that I was off. I decided to show up anyhow, and I showed up in a very unimpactful way in terms of um generating revenue from a market. Terrible, terrible trading today. But we are seeing rejection down here. We are seeing some rejection down here. Seeing price action starting to move up. See a seller popping in here, anticipating price action to continue to move higher here. This should be an area of support rather than resistance. We're seeing a lot of pushing on both sides. There we go. I like to move my stop here a little bit, lock in profits as we go, put it right down here in this area. Price action moves back up into the highs. We're going to move it into the next area of possible support. I don't want to do it right now because it's probably going to test, which would have stopped us out. Continue to move the stop above the areas and move in. And this is what happens when I show up on the court. Buy in these areas, sell in these areas. What was I doing over here? I was selling down here, and I was buying up here like a noob. Ah, that's okay. I see what I'm doing. Now, I will come back over here tomorrow and see if I can do this again at the live edge. And where's the next area of entry? Right in here. Why? We came down, tested the support and a pullback. Nice little up bar here. Not great within strength, but anticipate the pullback and then expect the price action to break the high. Not buying up here at the high as it's breaking, buying down here at the anticipation of the pullback. I'm back. I feel like I'm back right now. This is actually feeling really, really good at the moment. Well, let's see if I can keep this going. I still have a little bit more time. We'll see what happens here. All right. Came in here to this area of support. Sellers are actually responding a little bit. Can easily break this high though, because we're not breaking into lower prices. Took a little bit of an expense there, which is just fine. Look at the buyers here. Look at the stronger buyers comparatively to over here. The buyers are starting to step out a little bit. Move the stop back up in here. Look for a little bit of a movement to the downside and possible move back into these areas of support, maybe into lower lows if the buyers decide to step out. Where are we at in terms of auction market theory? We're coming into unfair lows of the current area of value, but we still have value area low just above 550. So anticipating a possible move down into the 550s before we actually really find buyers stepping into this market. Price action's now moving lower, going ahead and moving the stop into areas of support and resistance. If we break through this little area here, going to use the open of this current bar as an area for that. Price actions can come up, retest in this area, retest in this area. But now I'm looking for this low to break so I can continue to move my stop down and bleed risk out of the position. Hey, Amar, you still with us? How about you, Game Fetish? Are you still here too? And stopped out within the rotation. Buyers are strong here in this area where sellers once were. Price action stays above that. What should you expect? Price action to break highs. Price action breaks through this area of support and comes back down in here. What should you expect? This area of support now becomes resistance and price action comes down, trades lower, and possibly breaks lows or test lows. That's it. Areas of support or resistance and trading around the support or resistance. And there's a lower low. Look at the selling. Stronger selling there. Stronger selling. Let's see what happens when we get above the resistance. Got into the resistance and immediately traded down and started testing lows again. Everybody's quiet. Is nobody here right now? Is it just me? Am I just talking to myself? There we go. See what happened there? Got the buyers stepping in a little bit. There we go. That's what I wanted to see. Locking in 70. It's a free trade. Stop here. Locking in 155. I don't even know what we were up. 300. Lock in a couple hundred. So we hit the 410 there. Another couple hundred. Now we're back up to 1,055 on the day. A lot better than my earlier trading. Don't want to buy this in here yet. I want to wait and see what happens here. We do have the seller down here. Nice strong rejection. Now with this strong rejection above us, we get below this area, we could see continuation move to the downside to retest these lows down here. Let's see if we get it. There we go. There's the movement. Now, if we don't break the lows, we have support, just want to be out with a small break even. Price action is coming down here into another area of support. If we break that, I want to move my stop to where this resistance is right here. But look, see how we just tested it? See how we just tested where those sellers were again? And then we find our buyers in there. Pick up a little bit more, 1170. Now we have the support below us. We have the buyers above us, right? Sellers, buyers. But this was actually up here, wasn't buying pressure, right? So cyan, saying long, right? This is the area of resistance here. And this is the area of support. And now we have another buyer in here. This is going to be interesting here. See the conversation that's happening between buyers and sellers here? The question is now, who is going to be in control? Who's going to leave the conversation? Right now, sellers are leaving the conversation at the moment, okay? But they can always jump back right back in again. Why? Because they were there to begin with, okay? So now the sellers are down there, right? The buyers are up here. What is auction market theory telling us? Volume profile is telling us we could be long in here, but then we also have another segment that's telling us short, and I just missed long, so I was looking at that other chart. But that's okay. That's it. That's the way we trade these markets. The price action with the buyer stepping in, right? Unable to make higher highs up here. Okay, beautiful. If we come back down here into this area, we could be seeing a test of this low. Any questions? Oh, no. All good. Don't apologize. Now, I am selling into the lows of these bars, okay? But I do have market auction theory telling me that downside is still plausible. And I have this conversation here, and we just came in and we broke the lows, okay? Not broke the lows, I'm sorry. We just came into the support area, and this could actually act as resistance now. This is an excellent question. What do you think is the main difference that you feel between trading by yourself, trading on call, and then trading live? Okay, so first of all, have you seen the difference in experience between those three experiences in myself? So have you seen me trade by myself as, you know, as much as you can, because I'm by myself, so you really can't see, but are you familiar with that and how I am? Are you familiar with me being trading with you on a call and then trading live? Are you familiar with each one of those differences? And this is what happens, ladies and gentlemen, right here. You stick with it. One of these times, you're going to have a bar that's going to come into momentum, and you're just going to ride it. And these are the ones where you make your money. You can be tight with these. You can be loose with them. It really just depends on what is going on in the overall market condition, how you're feeling, and what you see, right? All we can do is just see and trade what we observe. And there's $16.95. I was negative in this account. I was up, $1,200, $1,300. I became negative in the account, and now I'm back positive again, $16.95. I'd be doing this in my live account, but I can't because I blew it up today. So I'm doing it sim right now. So yeah, while on the call, I was on a roll. The trading was phenomenal. Okay. What is the difference? So I have a predictive machine that, I had more than just a few expense trades while live, Amar, much more than that. This is what happens, and this is why this is the pressure. This is why trading is the environment that I use for this. Okay. I have a predictive machine that has a very negative future expectation regarding my environment. In other words, it expects bad things to happen. It expects me to fail. It expects me to have bad experiences in life when it's something that I want to do. That was ingrained in me when I was very young, very young. My dad used to tell me all the time, my stepmom, pretty much everybody in my family that I grew up with, he used to tell me all the time that even by the time I was 4 or 5 years old, that if I don't change my ways, that I'm going to spend, by the time I'm 18, they're going to throw me in prison. I'm going to spend the rest of my life in prison. That's what I was told, right? There shouldn't be any 4 or 5-year-old out there that is that evil or heinous in what they do in life that should be treated that way. And I remember having nothing but love and admiration for the things around me. I wasn't a little demon child, but my parents and my family made me out to be a demon child. And in that context, I was always afraid of failing. I was always afraid of doing or saying the wrong thing. And yeah, I'll get to your question in a second, Amar. In that context, that's just understanding my predictive engine, right? And my predictive engine goes online and is on the court when I'm not on the court. And when I'm having that feeling of failure, that nervousness and those type of things, I can have those things on the court, but I can also feel those things in the stands. And this is where it gets very difficult. It's kind of like a market shift, right? Shifting from an area of value to a balanced market condition. Do you go with the breakout of the possible imbalanced market condition, or do you go into rotation, or do you just wait, right? The clarity isn't quite there. Well, when our conscious participation there's doubt, right? There's fear. There's other things going on. We can think that we're on the court, but do those things actually belong on the court? And we don't know until we go to take action, right? Because we don't know. It's okay to feel fear. It's okay to feel nervous, even when you're going to participate and impact your life in a meaningful way. It's okay to feel those things. The question is, are those feelings linked to a predictive engine? If they are, and that predictive, and those feelings are coming from that predictive engine, then you're going to create its results. And my predictive engine is the worst trader that you'll ever meet, the worst trader. But when my conscious participation comes online, now I'm able to act aligned to my intention. And what causes my predictive engine to be not good in that manner? It's that its actions, while it's on the court, are not aligned to my intention. They're not aligned to profitable trading. It cannot trade profitably. So I have to be in this environment as a test for me. Not because I choose to trade, but because this is my testing environment. I'm able to show this at the live edge so other people can use the information to make adjustments in their own lives. So we think of live streaming like a court that we can be on. While you're on the court, is it the pressure of being on the court that can maybe change our actions? So it's, for me, it's not the pressure that's on the court, right? And this is why. Because when I go on to live streaming, okay, it's not the pressure that triggers. Well, it is, but it's not. The pressure is there to determine the trigger. And the trigger that it determines, there's two of them. Conscious participation or predictive machine. Those are the only two things that are going to be on the court and acting. Okay? What the live streaming does for me is I'm afraid of not performing well. I'm afraid of people of not talking in a way. I'm afraid that people aren't going to understand my message. I'm afraid that people aren't going to understand my trading style. I'm afraid that people aren't going to want to be here. I'm afraid of failing in front of people. So when we talk about pressure, that's what's causing the pressure, not the environment, not the court, not trading. None of that's creating the pressure. What's creating the pressure is all of the things associated with triggering the predictive machine that puts me back in the seats and the bleachers, observing the game instead of playing it. Does that make sense? Did I answer your question? And we can talk about all these things all that we want to in the classroom environment. We can write books, we can do other things, and those aren't creating lasting change for humanity. So I'm trying to do something different. I'm trying to show up here at the live edge, doing something that is not natural for me to do, that in a way that triggers the actions of my predictive nature that triggers behavior that's not aligned to what I consciously want. This is the worst environment for me that I could possibly think of. And that's why I chose it. Not because I want to do hard things. Not because this is hard to do. But because this is the environment that triggers my predictive machine and keeps me from conscious participation. And when I figure that out, I've unlocked the rest of my life. And when I figure that out, not only have I unlocked that door for my life, I may have a process that other people can follow and use to unlock it as well. And it's not something that I taught them how to do. It's something that I showed them how to do at the live edge, because that's all we have is this one moment. This one moment. And is this one moment going to impact our life in a positive way? Or is it just going to be repeated behavior triggered by the predictive machine itself? And that's my goal. And that's why I'm going to continue to do this. And that's why I should already be long. And now I'm chasing this trade. Should have been long down here. And when I was trading with you, Amar, this is where I would have been long, was in here. And see what happens. Even just talking about the negativity, the way that being live and trading live makes me feel, it's completely off kilter in my trading right now. It has me all kinds of messed up. And that's okay, because I'll get through it. Any other questions on that? Or any other topics that you would like to discuss? You know, also too, did I explain that clearly enough? $19.80 on the day. Remember, my day is I look for $2,500 in a day. You know, I had a mentor in trading once, and best trader I've ever seen in my life. And this guy was amazing. Absolutely 100% amazing. Loved him. I don't think he's with us anymore. But he asked me over a decade ago, he was like, there's a conversation right there. It's like, how much money do you want to make? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, how much money do you want to make? He goes, you need to understand how much money you want to make, because it's possible to do in trading, but you need to know how much. And at first I had no idea what he was talking about. No idea whatsoever what he was talking about. And just recently, like in April, I finally understood it. And now I don't just understand it, I own it and I know it. And what I understand and know is, if you know how to trade, you understand auction market theory, you understand market profiling, you understand what all of that means, you understand what's happening in order flow, what's going to happen is you're going to trade like I just did right there. And this turns into its own little ATM machine. And it just kind of prints out whatever it is that you want, because you know what you're doing, you know what price is doing, and you know how to react to it. And there's nothing that can possibly happen that you don't know what to do. When you look at my earlier trades today, please, absolutely 100%. Look at my earlier trades. There was indecision. Where do I place my stops? What's going on? When I just did that here, anybody listening right now, if anybody is on watching me right now, I have no idea. I don't look at stats while I'm doing this. I don't care. If anybody is watching, just please in the comments right now, if you understand what I'm putting down here, put a capital U in the chat right now. Put a capital U for understand. Just a capital U. If you really understand what it is that I am talking about right now, put a capital U. That means either nobody's here or you don't understand. But when you look at my trading earlier today and you look at my trading now, okay, to me, they're two completely different things. I'm not guessing right now. I'm not doing anything right now other than trading what I see in order flow. That's it. And the way that I view it is through the way I observe information. But the way that I observe information and the way that my predictive machine observes information is two completely different things. And right now, my predictive machine is not online. My conscious participation is. And I'm just coming in here doing exactly what I know that I need to do as a trader based upon what price action is doing. Am I going to probably take an expense here? More than likely, and I don't care. Because guess what? Now price action's in another area where now I should be looking long. And guess what? I'm in a long. And now I'm looking for possible momentum to come in to give me a decent position. Unless we're just absolutely stuck in this range. And I'll just nickel and dime the market to death. I don't care. Doesn't matter to me. Give me a big move. Beautiful. Don't give me a big move. I don't care. I should be short right now. And because I feel like I should be short right now, I'm going to be very tight with this stop. Because I don't want to give any of this back. Took the expenses back up to $22.95. Almost to $2,500. I was at $24.65 and it wasn't enough. So I'm going to trade this at $2,500. Let's go. Oh man. Amar, that's an excellent question. That's a mouthful. Okay. Let me do this real quick. Let me trade this. I'm at 24.45. I still need a little bit more on the day. I'm not stopping until I hit 2,500. I don't care. So give me just a second here. Let me watch this. There we go. This is going to give it to me right here. This is going to give it to me right here. 25.55. Done for the day. Okay. What got you into trading and how did you go about learning it? What part of trading piqued your curiosity? Oh my God. Okay. Now, you have to remember, okay, I was a kid when I first got into trading, okay? I was in the Marine Corps. I didn't know what I was going to do with my life. I had no idea. I was just some jarhead with no clue in life whatsoever. And my stepdad got some books from Larry Williams. Most people probably don't know who Larry Williams is. He was an option and spread trader back in the 90s and 2000s. His daughter is Michelle Williams, who's been in multiple movies. I wouldn't necessarily say she was necessarily an A-list actor, but you know, as close to an A-list actor as you could possibly get at her prime. So in that context, right, I picked up these books and I started learning and it piqued my interest. It was new. It was not a lot of people were doing it. And it was in that time frame where the technology was being developed that could actually be used to do this as a living. And that piqued my interest. But what really piqued my interest was when I got in and I started trading became controlling an uncontrollable environment. And that uncontrollable environment, of course, was the market. You're trying to control and tame an uncontrollable entity. Until I realized it wasn't. It was never the market that I was trying to control. It was never the market that was the uncontrollable environment. It was my own internal makeup. And that's why I continue to trade today. Because I'm trying to control the uncontrollable environment that is me. I hope that helps. Questions on that? Concerns? It's rather concerning when I say it. Oh, good times. Good times. I'm just trying to be authentic here with everybody. Life is hard. Life sucks at times. There are times where we don't even want to be here anymore, and yet we are. Life is not easy at all. But I do believe that life can be a little bit more fun. Doesn't make it easier, just makes it a bit more fun. It's more fun to live a life aligned to conscious participation than it is to live a life that we feel stuck in. Now you feel like wanting to be a trader. Don't do it. Don't do it. No. You know what? There's nothing else out there that I could possibly do. And I've tried so many things. I'm a jack of all trades and a master of none. And I've tried so many things of trying to fix and heal and do all of the other stuff that we're told that we can do through, self-help, therapists and religion. I've tried absolutely everything. And nothing has been able to get me to create the lasting transformation in my life that I really want to see. A life where I'm not trapped by future behavior constructed or as a construct of the negativity that I have inside of myself, and allowing myself to allow that negativity to blossom into something very positive in my life. And those are things that I haven't been able to do very often. I can be highly productive and highly successful in other things and other adventures because I can do things right at times. But I usually sabotage those things as well over time because there's a part of me that does not feel worthy of success. There's a part of me that does not feel worthy of being able to be successful, to be happy, to be fulfilled, to live a life of alignment, to live an aligned life. And what does it mean to live an aligned life? To have an intention that you consciously want and be able to align your actions to get there, to experience it, not because of the result, but from the experience of walking the path. So find that passion in you, that it is worth getting past the predictive machine and the nature of it, so you can get on the court and impact your life in a way that's more meaningful to what you intentionally, consciously want to participate in. For me, that's trading. Because I know trading is one of the only things that if I'm successful at it, it's not a fluke. I'm successful at it because I did that shit. Not because I'm special, not because I'm arrogant, not because I've done anything else along those lines. It's because I know myself. I know myself at a very, very deep level. If I can get myself to do that, that's meaningful. Sellers came at a high. What happens when sellers come in at a high? Before, earlier today, I was looking at, oh, wow, we get above there, I can go long. It's like buyers coming into a low. It's possible rejection there. And the rejection is confirmed. And then what happened on that rejection? We created a lower low. Did I trade it? No, I'm not taking any more trades today because I hit my target. I'm at 25.53. 25.55. I'm sorry, I don't need more than $2,500 in a day. Is it sim? Sure. But you know what? If sim means something different to you than live, that means it's the results that matter to you. And if the results are what matters to you, that's fine. But you're missing the point. Oh, Amar, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you. Yeah, you go get some work done. Always absolute pleasure. Thank you. And you have a phenomenal day as well. And on that note, guys, I appreciate everybody for tuning in today. I appreciate the camaraderie, the conversations. Uncle, absolutely amazing. I can't tell you enough how much I appreciate you. And all your support that you've shown me from day one. I wouldn't probably still be doing this right now if it wasn't for your positive influence. And so I hope that you hear this, because I have so much gratitude for you. And on that note, I'm done for the day. I blew up the evaluation account, and I'm up 25.55 in the sim account. And when the process becomes aligned in this live streaming, it's going to be just the reverse, because what I did in sim is what I'm going to do here. And that's when the alignment happens. Not because the results shifted, but because my actions are aligned to the original intention. Thank you everyone for attending. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I hope you all have an amazing day. Enjoy. I will see you tomorrow. Well, no, I'm going to see you this afternoon around 2:30 because I'm going to replay this. I'm going to replay this and we're going to see exactly what it is that I did wrong today. We're going to identify it, and then I'm going to make adjustments to what it is that I am doing to reduce the risk of it happening again. Thank you, everyone.